8 a.m. this Wednesday morning, April 15th, 2026. I woke up not too long ago. We are still without power this morning. Yeah, leave it to Consumers Energy here in Michigan to get right on it. You know, as always, Consumers Energy. That, well, of course, it's being reported on the news more than likely this morning, but I can't find that out because, well, once again, no power. Now, I put my plants out last night. I am getting ready to head out into the woods. Supposedly, I'm supposed to have someone else show up to join me in this morning's feedings. Whether or not that will happen, I'm not certain of right now. Very wet out here. Quite overcast. And we are still dripping with moisture from the fallout. And yeah, I actually slept quite hard last night, but then I had last 2 nights virtually sleepless, if you will. But we've got Batsy out here waiting, and we've got a cat back here that's waiting. I've got 5 stations now set up for feeding, 3 of which are for the cats, 1 for the birds and squirrels, and 1 for the chickens. I might have already reported that in last night's recordings. I'm not certain. We didn't have anything real severe here, just a lot of fallout. And I don't know if we are expecting more. It appears as though we're kind of clearing up. But yeah, very wet out here. We've got birds out and about already. More than likely. And of course, Batsy's sitting at the base of the feeding tree. So, you know, that right there in itself is why I decided to move locations for the feedings. I don't know how the 2 kittens have fared through last night's ordeal and event, or shall I say events, because, well, what I had recorded last night, the previous recording, that was about as severe as what we had actually gotten here. Nothing really worse than that. This morning, yeah, there was quite a few more rumbles, of course, still raining. But once again, that has led up. It's going to be very wet feeding out here this morning. Yeah, I'm not sure what cat this is back here. It's not Oreo. And I flubbed up in my recording from yesterday to where I was speaking of Oreo, saying being in trouble or something like that, and in fact I was speaking of Batcat here. But I'm going to go ahead and finish throwing on my boots. Oh, morning, Dub. Throwing on my boots and my flannel shirt jacket and head on out, and we're going to get this breakfast rocking and rolling for this morning. And well, having no power, well, this is going to delay the uploading process for anything from last night. I was quite surprised that yesterday I was actually, wow, I don't know what happened, but I got everything posted that I wanted to get posted. Unbelievable. I'm actually in shock. But without further ado, I must get out there and take care of business. Whether I will record anything from this morning's feedings, yeah, I'm determined at this given point in time. But boy, we really have been popping out with the foliage. I mean, just within days. Pow, pow, pow. Everywhere it is popping. So on that note, I am headed on out. Thanks for watching. Take care. Have a great one. Skywise out. Alright, real quick. At 8:15 a.m. this Wednesday morning, April 15th, 2026. So we have moved feeding locations in an effort to keep the feeding separate as far as between the cats, birds and squirrels, and the chickens. And yesterday I spent a little bit of time out here building a house of brick for these cats. And well, the kittens appeared to be quite dry this morning, so whether or not they took advantage of staying out here overnight, I'm not certain, but that is what I've done. And here's a second feeding location, and here's yet another location to where Xerox and Snot is currently munching away. And then of course, way over here, we've got the feeding tree. Okay, oh, excuse me, here. Man, I'm still waking up. No rocket fuel drink this morning, as I have every morning. Cold cup of coffee, instant coffee. Yeah, real fun. And yeah, we still have no power. And I can be out here and know that because our floodlights are not on, and it's still gloomy and dark enough for those to actually have been still on. Man, I must have slept hard because I feel like I've got a hangover. And yeah. And so like I said, we got nothing real severe last night, unlike what's possibly being reported to the north of us. Boy, they had a lot of activity that was kicking off. But I was just glad enough to have gotten the light show displays from last night's lightning. That was rather spectacular, and at this given point in time, I've not yet reviewed those recordings. And as far as recordings, I will have to end this one directly because I have to conserve on the battery power of this device, because it is very difficult to determine when consumers' energy will fix whatever issue that caused last night's power outage. And well, for many hours now, quite sad if you ask me. And every time that there is a power outage, it's always consumers' energy. But they've got the most customers here in Michigan. Come on, my lady. Come on, girl. We're out here. Come on. She just come up. Looks like we got some other cats. Come on, girl. Yeah, she's making her way out here. Still trying to familiarize themselves with these. There we go, girl. Morning. Hi. Pick your spot. You can go over with Batsy, or you can come over here. You want to come over here? Come on, girl. Here. Yeah. Kittens are over here. Come on, my lady. Right here. Come on. Yep, right now. Come on. Yeah, kind of throwing them off. And they're used to the beat down ground around the feeding area that is basically grassless, weedless, what have you. And that's another reason for moving the stations, so we can begin to regrow some of the foliage in the areas that have been, in fact, beat down, if you will. And try to get some of this stuff to come back, right? And I am not going to monkey around with any chickens this morning, especially because I've handed out most of the seed to the birds and squirrels in the feeding tree. Oh, come on. And yeah, we had other cats that came up last night. Did not scout around back here, even though I tried to get them to check out these new feeding stations. One cat in particular was Wolf. He just kind of sat off in the distance and talked to me for a second, turned around and walked away. I was like, all right, well, you're on your own. As well as the rest of these cats are going to have to learn from one another as far as where these new stations are. And that I do believe. Okay, my lady's over here, and she's no longer staying with her kittens. I don't know where she's hanging out at now, but I'm quite certain that the kittens were on their own throughout that storm last night. But we're going to let them continue to feast away. More likely, weather permitting, I'll be back out here in a few hours. And yeah, this really kind of bites, not having power, because it's been a couple of days since my last workout, and I was wanting to get workout in today, but you know, I like to do a little bit of rocking and rolling musically wise with my workouts. And oh yeah, yeah, I'm thinking that might not happen. And plus I'm feeling rather beat. I think a lot of it is because of the effort and exertion that I went through building this back here, and I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that nobody's going to mess with it. They do on occasion mow a small section right there. Of course, you can see that's like a refuse area to where they're dropping off this and that, and have been over the years. But they mow up to a certain point, and that might cause some issues if they should in fact begin mowing or brush hogging up there and having this right right at the edge of where they stop mowing or brush hogging once again. But yep, all of this needs to heal, right? And which it is already beginning. We are getting some growth popping off. But it just became, oh, we got some geese they're flying off this morning. There they go back in here. Well, not able to see them. And I think it's the two geese that I've been having on, or within my recordings. But yeah, I figured, okay, see, until we're getting all this greenery, let's go ahead and move locations. And there's that old baseball. And what cats that still are unfamiliar with these new locations, once again, I'll be coming out here at least one more time today, at least. And yeah, we'll get them going. But on that note, thanks for watching. Take care. Have yourselves a great one. This is Skywise out. 9:45 a.m. on this Wednesday morning, April 15th, 2026. I gotta make this rather quick as my battery is slowly losing charge. I actually, not really even slowly, rather quickly. So after I came back in from this morning's feeding, actually I was on my way back in, and I noticed that there was a little bit of a community gathering that was taking place down the driveway of our entry to this apartment complex. So I wandered on over and talked with a couple of the people that had gathered as we were discussing the factor of not having power, and at that given point in time, one of the sources stated that Well, we should have power restored by 9 a.m. Um, but then I decided, well, you know what, I'm going to text my brother and just let him know that, we have no power after last night's events. And, well, he informed me that he is without power, and he resides in the town south of my location in Plainville, Michigan, and has no power. And he stated that power restoration won't occur until right around 3 p.m. this afternoon. So much for my food products in the freezer and refrigerator. Yeah, that's going to be quite unfortunate, but it's not like I haven't dealt with that before. um, oh, but a lot of the drainage to my phone this morning is because I started to review the first recording from when last night's lightning first began, and well, I'm kind of pleased with that. It's one of the best, well, according to the title, that at this point in time has not been created yet, but more than likely will be the best lightning show that I've ever recorded. But yeah, it got. I can't wait to watch the rest of my recordings from last night. Once again, well, that'll be past tense by the time this recording comes out, of course. But all in all, yeah, I'm standing here at the sliding glass door. There's a nice cool breeze that is coming through, but we're already getting some of that mugginess factor. And if we should get the sun to pop out, and it's going to get miserable around here as far as that humidity factor and the mugginess. The feel like humidity. Yeah, and of course we'll be having those feel like temperatures. Oh, and I've got a wasp or a hornet right here that I shall try to get outside. Come on, come on, come on. You're all right. Just keep going. There you go. Come on. There you go. And off he goes. My first save of the day. Saved a life. Be free. Okay, so anyways, I gotta end this. Of course, once I get recording, it's hard for me to stop. You know. Oh, Gabby. But anyways, yeah, it is getting lighter out here. But once again, those milky white skies that we have grown to be quite accustomed to, that, well, many people just take for granted anymore, that, hey, that's just all normal, if you will. Well, for those that still believe that, I got news for you. But those headlines have already come and gone. But of course, might once again reappear in the future. After all, I do repeat my narratives over and over, and have done so throughout the history of this channel. And you know what? There's no refuting to much of the information through my observations that can happen or occur. So, anyways, without further ado, I need to end this. So, well, if you've been hit and seeing this, I hope, all is well for you. I know that more likely there's major flooding events that have been taking place. And, well, of course, no power, can't turn on the idiot box to find out anything, and I'm not going to jump on YouTube and waste that much more energy through my battery. So, on that note, may all be well for you and yours. Take care. Have a great one. We'll bump into each other once again on this flip side of reality. But until that point in time, this is Skywise out. 10:40 a.m. on this Wednesday, April 15th, 2026. Yeah, so the skies are breaking up. This thing has now made its appearance. It is warming up out here, which, as stated earlier, we will end up having humidity factors. I just did a Google search as to basically the estimated time of power restoration, and well, basically it said that there was no estimated time period for our power to be turned back on, as no progress reports have been made so far. Okay, so, well, right there with my suspicious mindset, I'm quite curious about this because our power went out basically, and I'm just going to go ahead and say exactly at midnight. And here it is all these hours later and still no power. It's just something that, kind of makes me go, Now we've got the lighting dimmed down. I'm going to keep this short as, battery conservation. But once again, we have the appearance of the sun now. And otherwise, I have not gone in search of any weather updates or such. And this is looking rather gloomy back here, rather dark and gloomy. So whether we are going to be having precipitation once again, I don't know. One thing I do know is throughout this day, my sinuses have been very stuffy. And my head not all that clear, if you will. So, yeah, take that as you will. There's my new friends out here. I might have to, I think they've taken notice of me. I don't know. I might have to grab up some seed and take out to them. Yeah, I think they're looking for me, and maybe it's the baseball cap that I wear. That is a identification marker for them. Yeah, I think I'll do that before we should happen to get any form of fallout. Once again, with the appearance of the sun. Well, it's a flip of a coin right now. Just a coin toss game. And we've got Robin that just blew up right here. Got to keep this short. I don't know, maybe I'll just go ahead and let them wander about. I just don't feel like going back out there. I just don't want them wandering up into the backyard here, the back lawn. And they're working their way over to the feeding tree. And there's plenty of seed over there, so. But it's the pathway that they might jump on and wander on down. The path is right over here. Yeah, that's what they're doing. They're pecking around the base of the feeding tree. So I am going to return to the bedroom and monitor the situation from the bedroom window, and, well, possibly await the arrival of more fallout from the sky. So on that note, thank you for watching once again. Blah blah blah, yakety smackety, Skywise out.